Hello everyone. Hope you are all having a good day. Myself Bose from SNS Learning, wishing you a hassle-free learning going forward. Today, this tutorial video we are going to cover based on some points or topics. First one is how to import data in Oracle table from an Excel file or Microsoft Excel file. How to use Nvl function while selecting some data from table. Third one is how to use if-else logic based on decode function. The next one is how to use if-else logic based on case when function. And the last one is what is the difference between case when and decode function, and which one is useful and which one we should use in which case. So we are coming to the first one. First one is how to import data into a Oracle table from a Microsoft Excel file. So this topic which we are going to discuss is very useful and important, but nowadays most of us are not aware of the process. As per the requirement, whenever required, we can import data from a table to some uh, we can import the data from a table to and create a file or insert command that we can do. But how to import data from an Microsoft Excel file to that database, which helps what? Let's assume we have a data in our Microsoft Excel file that we can directly import or insert in a Oracle table. How to do that? Let me explain based on an example. Over here, I have a table. What's that? That is student details. The table which consists the data of a school, we can say all the name of the students, as this is a sample example. So this sample table consists the name of the class from where the student belongs to, the section of the class, respective roll number, name of the student, and the obtained marks in some subject like English, math, science, history, geography, and the total marks obtained by them, total marks in percentage, and the remarks. So this is the data set of a student details of a school where it consists the data of student. Over here around 40 data are present of, okay, let me do this. Yeah. Over here this is present. So as you can see in this row is the obtained marks is blank, obtained marks till obtained marks till remarks is blank. And for this row, row number 11, the mentioned row which I am mentioning over here, this one and the last one. For these three rows, the obtained marks in all subject as well as total marks, marks in percentage, and the remarks all are null. The reason of that is these three are newly joined to the school, and due to that, in the last examination of that school, they didn't obtain any marks. So what we have to do over here, this data of school database or whatever the data we can say is present in the Excel file, we need to import it in a Oracle table. Before doing that, some small topics we need to keep in mind, like the data type. When we are going to import this full data set into a Oracle table, then the column name of the respective Oracle table should match the data type of the data which is present in this table. Over here, to do this, what I did, the class name, as we can see, this is a string value. I kept it as a text, and wherever the number value is present, I kept it as a number. The type of the data is number. Where it is varchar, I kept it as a text value. This all data set is ready over here to import it in Oracle database. Let me explain a small thing, like over here in the last column in remarks, somewhere it is mentioned as P, somewhere it is mentioned as F. P means pass and F means fail. Since this row or this student newly joined, so the respective marks is blank in this case. So to do this, first we need to do? We need to create a table in Oracle database. So we are going to create a table, and after that we will import the full data set into that table. So over here, the create table script I have already written. Like we are creating a table which name is student details. Create table, and after that the class, section, roll number, student name, this all column name I have mentioned as per the mentioned character. Wherever the data type or data which is present as number, we have kept the data type of the respective column as well number, and wherever the text data is present or the string value is present, there we have kept the data type of the table column as in varchar 2, or you can say the varchar. So over here let me create the table. Okay, great. Now over here as we can see the table student details is created. Now we need to know how we can import the data or full data set into this table. Over here in this DB, this table represents or this table consists all the table details, or if we expand this by expanding this plus sign, then we can able to see all the data which is present in this schema. So let me explain this. Over here a lot of tables are Oracle predefined tables are present, so we need to find out the table which we have created, that is the student details. So let me go down. It's the full data set is present based on the alphabetical order. So let me go down. So, yeah, so this one is our table. If I click on it, so if I click on it, it will reflect all the data type, the nullability of the column, and column ID, which is the column position we can say, and all the column name. If I show you over here the data which is present, yeah, all the data which is present over is null, so which means no data is present in this table. As we know, just we have created the table over here, so no data is present. So what we have to do, we need to import the data. So how to do? Let's right click on the table name. If we right click, it's given an option of importing the data. Let me click it. If I click it, it's asking for a local file and or the file location. So let me browse the file. So let me find out the document or the file which is present. So this is the file student details. Over here all the data type of XLS, CSV, dot XLSX all are present. So we are opening it. After header we have a, yeah, so great. So over here all the data we can see from this tab. First, let me go to the Excel sheet once again. Over here, the first row consists the row header. If we come to the database once again, over here it is mentioned as header, which means file format is header, means the default, it's by default it is capturing it like the first row as the header. So the next one is over here, it is mentioned as worksheet sheet 1. So if I click on the drop down, it is providing us the two number like sheet 1 and sheet 2. If I show you the Excel sheet which I have, you can see over here all the data which is present of the student that is present in the sheet 1. So over here, while selecting the database, we need to choose sheet 1. Next, the skip row. From after the heading, as it's the all the data is reflecting over here, after the heading the data are present, so we don't want to skip any rows. If we want to skip any specific row, we need to mention over here the number of rows. So since all are good over here, we are proceeding with the next step. We are clicking on the next button. After clicking it, it is asking for the import row limit. So it is over here, we have 40 rows. So at a stretch we can import over here as mentioned 100 rows, which is fine for us. So we are proceeding for the next option. And over here another thing is mentioned like insert. We are trying to do a insert in a blank table, so we are proceeding with the this command insert. If I click on next, then all the data or all the column which should be imported are present over here like class, section, roll number, name, and the subject name, and the total marks in percentage, and remarks. If we want to remove anything, then we just need to click as an example I am showing you, like total marks or remarks. If we want to remove it, then we need to just click on it and click on the remove or this arrow button. If we click it, it's available over here and it's removed from the selected button. I don't want to remove anything, so I am inserting this button, or I am inserting the value of this column. After checking all this, we are proceeding with the next. If I proceed with the next, over here all the column name is mentioned in red color. Why so? We have to map the data. Means, let me open the Excel sheet once again. In the Excel sheet, the first column name is class, second one is section. In our table, first column name is class, which is mapped with the class value. Fine. The next one is section, which is mapped with the section value. Fine. We need to map the column name which is present in our Excel sheet like this class, and the respective column name of the Oracle table, which means the first column of the Excel sheet should be mapped with the first column of the Oracle table. So like this we need to map the data. So as I have shown, the next one is the roll number, which is already mapped since the name of the column are same. The next one is name. In Excel sheet we have the column name. Over here we need to map it with this student name. If I map it correctly, this red symbol is gone. The next one is English. So in our Oracle table we need to map it with the marks obtained in English. Like the similar way, we need to map the other columns. As science, we need to map it with science. History, we need to map it with the marks obtained in history. Geography, we need to map it with marks obtained in geography. Total marks, we need to map it with total obtained marks. Marks in percentage, we need to map it with marks in percentage. Remarks is already mapped correctly. So now the source data and the target table columns are looks fine, as no red sign is present over here like the previous. So we can proceed with the next If everything is fine, then we can import the data. It will show the database connection details and the source from where we are trying to import the data. We are proceeding with the finish button over here. If we are proceeding, it is prompt this notification which implies all the data get imported successfully. So we are clicking the OK button and we are trying to refresh the data sheet. So if we as you can see, if we try to refresh it, all the data which was present in the Excel sheet is imported correctly in the Oracle table. The class name, section name, roll number, student name, marks obtained in English, marks obtained in math, marks obtained in science, history, geography, total obtained marks, marks in percentage, and remarks. This all data are present over here. So now let's close it. So the import is done successfully. What we can do now to check the data once again, we can write a select command which is shown in the previous video, how to write a select command or how to select the full value. So we can write a select command to retrieve the full data set. Yeah, it's working fine. Now we can move to the next one, or you can say the next topic which was mentioned in the slide, like how to use Nvl function while selecting a data from table. Now as you can see over here, like three students are there, row number over here, row number 10, row number 20, and row number 40. These three students are newly joined to this school. So according to the last examination, they didn't obtain any marks in the last examination. So the respective marks and the remarks are null over here. But a student marks cannot be null. We can represent this through a number. How? Like if it is null, then we can represent their number as 0. Since null cannot be a number value, so if anyone asks that how or what marks you have obtained in the last exam, they can't say that null is not a marks. They can say that they have obtained the 0 marks. So like that they can do. So over here, what we have to do, if we want to select the data into, or we can say the data which is present for them, these three student, we can retrieve the data into the number field, or we can represent the data through a number. What we have to do, we have to do this by a nvl function, or we can say this nvl is a Oracle predefined function which is used to convert the number if any null value is present. What it will do? It will convert the existing number to a value with 0 if the particular field is having the 0 value. So it is converting the field value with 0 if the field is actually having a null value. So null to 0, this transformation is happening through this nvl function. So now let me show you how to write the NVL function, or how to get the value through the NVL function. Okay. So as I have written over here, like nvl within first bracket, the name of the column for which I want to select the value. If it's null, it will be retrieved as 0. So over here I have provided the column name as marks obtained OBT in English, comma 0. So if any row or any data present in the column of marks obtained in English is null, then that particular data will be retrieved as 0. So like that I have mentioned over here, like the column name marks obtained in English, marks obtained in math, marks obtained in science, marks obtained in history, and lastly marks obtained in geography. For this column I want to retrieve the data as 0 if any data is present as null. So as you can see over here, the I have to mention the class name, section name, roll number and student as well to show you the data. So class, section, roll number, student, as like this we can select the column name, and then over here by right clicking on the column name we can copy the column header. By that, like this we can select the column name, and if we run the query from here, then it will provide us the proper output. So as you can see, this row number 10 over here I have said lastly, like Brunda, this student joined newly in the school, so her marks is reflected as 0 instead of null. So row number 10, row number 20 and row number 40. For these three column, the marks obtained in English, the selected column value like marks obtained in English, marks obtained in math, science, history and geography. For these five column, the data is reflected as 0 instead of null. So by this we can use this NVL function and to get the output as 0 instead of null value. Now I'm going move to the next slide in the next topic. The next topic is how to use if-else logic based on the decode function. So now we will show you the another use of decode function. So what is decode? Decode function is a Oracle inbuilt function where we can use the if-else logic at the time of selecting any data from a table. So how to use it? Let me show you an example based on which we will able to understand that how to write the decode function and how to use the if else logic at the time of selection, or at you can say at the time of retrieve any data from some table. So let me show you how to write the decode command. From the previous I have just selected the column header, then decode. Over here inside the decode we need to mention the column name. Like let me write the full query, then we will analyze it step by step. So what we are doing over here, like the decode function is works in this way. Like over here we are selecting the value of the other columns like class, column name class, section, roll number and student name. In decode what we are doing, we are doing a if else check. Like based on these remarks hold the grade or what the remarks of the student, like pass or fail. So what we are doing over here, like based on these remarks, we are doing a decode function. Like the value of remarks, if the value present in the remarks field, if it is p, then in our selected output it will print as pass. If the value of field is f, then it will, in our output, when we will run the select query, it will print the output as fail. If the value of the remarks field is not matching with p or f, then it will print the result as result not available, which means if the value is p, then it will pass, else if the value is f, then it is fail, else the data is result not available. So let me run the query. We will show you the example over here. So as I have written, like it help us to print the data in this way of the result, like this all data student, as in result we are printing like they are pass, since the value of the remarks field is matches with p. For this student row number 8, this student, the result of the student is fail, since the data of remarks column is mentioned as f. And for the row number 10, since this student newly joined to this school, that's why no data was present at remarks field. That's why, as mentioned in this code, it is reflecting as result not available. For this row, as I have mentioned in the previous like for row number 10, row number 20, and row number 40, for these three row it is present as result not available, and for other data it is mentioned as pass, and where it is f, the remarks is f, it is printing as. So now the next one is, I have, as I have mentioned in the slide, like how to use if else logic based on case when function, and what is the difference between case when function and the decode function, and which is useful. The point is, we have already learned just now that how to use the if else logic based on the decode function. Based on the decode function we can implement the if else logic. Then why we have to learn the case when function where we can implement the same if else logic. The point why we have to use the case when function, or what is the functionality of case when function where we can we can't use the decode, that I will come later. First let me explain you what is the decode what is the case when function, or how to write the case when function based on which we can express the if else logic. So for your better understanding, uh, I am going to write the same code or same logic which I have implemented over here based on the decode functionality. So if I write the same code based on the case when function, then we can check the output. Let me write the code, then I'll explain you step by step. Let me copy the column header, then case when remarks p, then pass when remarks f, then fail, else. Let me copy this. Result. Sorry. And as result from, yeah. So based on the case when function, we need to check that, like, if the remarks value of the remarks column is p, then we have to print the pass. If the remarks value column value is f, then we have to print f, sorry, fail. Else, if no other values are present, like, I mean, if some other values are present except this p and f, then we have to print result not available. So let me run the query. Yeah, so if I run the query, then it is printing the result as expected. Like, for all the student, it is printing the result or retrieving the data, like class, section, roll number, student name, and the result. Where it is p, it is printing over here as pass in the result. Where it is f, it is printing as fail, as you can see in row number 8. And where the values is not matching with p or f, then over there it is the result column value is printing as result not available. So now the point we need to understand, that why we have to, or we will use the case when logic instead of decode function. The main point based on which, or based on that we can use the case when logic, is using case when we can perform a extensive check operation. Based on decode, we can check, like, if the remarks value is p, then it is pass. If it is f, then fail. But using case when function, we can perform a extensive check. What is the extensive check? Let me uh, describe you some detail. So based on which we can explain you the check which we can perform. Like, over here, let me run the full query once again, or let me retrieve the full data set from this table. Student details, how to write the full query, or how to get the I mean, how to retrieve the full data set from a table, that I have already explained in my last video. So let me run the select star query, which will able to help us to retrieve the full data set present in the student details table. So over here, what we are trying to do, if any student obtain the marks in English, math, and science, all these three subjects greater equal to 60, then we can assign them as grade 1. If the student obtain the marks in two subjects greater equal to 50 and one subject less than 60, then we can assign them as grade 2. Two subject means in English, in between English, math, and science, if in between these three subjects one student obtain a marks greater than or greater equal to 50 in two subject and one subject less than 60, then we can assign them as grade 2. If the student obtain a marks greater equal to 40 in one subject and two subject less than 40, then we can assign them as grade 3. If the student obtain a marks in all subject, that means in these three subject, English, math, and science, in these three subject they obtain a marks less than 40, in these three subject less than 40, then we will assign them as fail. If nothing is available, or if no data is available for a student, then we can assign them with result not available. So for that, we have write a case when function. Based on this logic, we have written this case when function. So let me explain you. Over here, if a student obtain a marks in these three subject greater equal to 60, then we can assign them as grade 1. If the student obtain the marks greater equal to 50 in two subject and less than 60 in one subject, then we can assign them as grade 3. If the student obtain a marks greater equal to 40 in two subject and less than 40 in one subject, then we can assign them as grade 3. If all in three subject they obtain a marks less than 40, then we can uh, assign them as failed. Let me remove it. Yeah. And if other condition is present, like if no data are present uh, for any student, then we can assign them as result not available. So this kind of extensive check can be performed based on the case when function. Case when function, using case when function, other than the single check, or we can say other than the check of a single column, value check of a single column, we can perform an extensive check of adding two or three, some more than one condition or more than one value in condition check. We can perform more than one checking condition, and after that we can retrieve the value from then based on the case when function. So if I run the query, then it will able to help us to get the full data set over here, like it will able to assign the grade to the student, as I have mentioned over here, grade 2, grade 3, like that. Sorry, this is the grade 2, grade 1. In some case, it is result not available. In let me check. Yeah, this is the fail. These all cases are present. So, hope you don't have any difficulty to understand this video or this tutorial. Thank you, guys. We'll meet in the next video.